Welcome. You're listening to
Off the page.
Hey Michelle.
Hi, Sewon.
It's been a busy week for me.
Ah,
And you know what?
like I kind of lost my words because I kind of know what Sewon's been through this week, and it must have been a hardship.
It's okay. Yeah, it's just this just happens like once in 2 months. And compared to what I've been doing in the past few years, compared to that, it's just it's okay.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Work-wise?
Work-wise, to be honest, I'm not that busy as before because, I kind of managed to meet a new team that can support what I'm doing.
Uh-huh.
So they are, helping me a lot. So I'm just making some kind of orders and, request for some kind of information on those kind of things. And I'm kind of relieved than before, I think.
Great.
Yeah.
And are you settled with your closet problem? Your wardrobe issue?
I actually I was about to mention the wardrobe issue.
Uh-huh. Yeah, tell me more about it.
Yeah, I mean, last going into our weekend talk, I put together an IKEA wardrobe over the weekend. By the way, it is really hard for me to say IKEA. It's just like usually Americans do because in Korea it is called IKEA. But still, I heard that Americans call that IKEA. And, I told a bit about this to Sewon, but there was kind of a whole saga about it. I'd actually ordered a different wardrobe before moving into this new house. But the earliest delivery date they had was May 8th. So I ended up living for 3 full weeks without a wardrobe after moving in. And apparently with furniture deliveries, the delivery driver calls the customer the day before. And the second that I mentioned there was already a bed in the room, he immediately told me that, then the assembly thing will be difficult then. You should cancel the order. So I was just, keep asking him that, how much space do you actually need? And I was just want him to give me the specific measurement of the room. But still he was just keep saying that it won't be possible. I won't be able to, assemble the wardrobe in your room. Just you just have to cancel the order. So I called the customer service center after, having some kind of arguments with the delivery person. And, one of the things that really, makes me feel terrible is that I have some kind of issue with the service. And when I call the call center employees are they are just the messengers for the, for example, delivery department or the establishment department. They are just merely a messengers, but still they are the ones apologizing to me over and over again.
So it's more like you're mad at it, but at the same time you feel bad for them, right?
Yeah, I really don't want to be mad at them, but still I have to, kind of show what I'm actually upset about and explain the situation. And immediately after listening to what I've been gone through, they are like, we are terribly sorry about like what you've been gone through, and like 그 막 진짜 그 한국어로 해야 되는데 막 고객님 정말 사죄드립니다. That makes me really feel, terrible. And they were also conveying the message from the establishment department in the like platform service that saying that like it might be possible to, assemble the wardrobe in your room, but still we won't recommend it because it might hurt your floor or the like wallpapers. Mm-hmm. So I just, decided to cancel the order on that platform. And after that, I went on the IKEA site and I found out a specific wardrobe that, that I feel like, oh, this looks pretty. And when I made an order, I was really surprised that they will deliver the wardrobe in 2 days. Just 2 days. And after that, I really felt like 현타. 그러니까
because you've been waiting for it for like 3 weeks. And
3 weeks,
yeah,
3 full weeks. And, actually, like, it was kind of, I was feeling like, why did I wait 3 weeks for some kind of random brand that I even barely know about? So, like, I was feeling really, like, huge 현타 on that matter. So, like, anyway, my roommate and I assembled it together in the weekend. And my roommate actually, loves this kind of stuff, assembling the things. So she already has a tool at home. So we used it was my first time, looking at someone using electric drill for that long time. And it was amazing. I mean, I really liked the procedure, actually.
But like, Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, but it's really weird that you, like your initial closet that you're supposed to get, you bought it through a platform that we wouldn't mention in this episode, right? And like, I think that I've never used that service before, but like after listening to your story, like I was thinking like, why wouldn't they put up a post or a, something like important notice, like before you, decide to purchase this, make sure you have minimum space of this, and this, or like make sure that you don't have a bed like bigger than this kind of, 그런 notice.
Actually,
And like, I thought that it's not more of a 설치기사 or the delivery guy's fault, but it's more about the platform's fault, isn't it?
There were main 2 complaints that I made to the customer service center. One was about the delivery service guy because like he was kind of,
Irresponsible,
and he kept saying that I'm not saying this because I don't want to do this. But when someone is repeating something, it kind of sounds like he actually doesn't want to do this.
It sounds defensive.
Yeah. And he kind of sounded like 귀찮아해.
아이고.
And that one was one of my complaints. And the other part was that that you just mentioned that there were like no specific notice on the website. And I said that you guys just said that the customer will need some kind of a 넉넉한 space, fairly enough space. That was the only thing that they mentioned on the website. When I said about that to the call center employee, she was just keep saying that we are terribly sorry about what you've been gone through.
So do you like your new closet?
Oh yeah, I really do. It has more space than I expected.
Oh.
Even more than that I saw on the IKEA website. So I can just solve all my clothes at some part, and I'm quite satisfied with that.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
There's not much. You're done, right? There's. No more things to...
I actually ordered 2 wardrobes, and over the weekend we just, assembled one of them, the bigger one, with 3 doors. And today, my roommate wasn't going to her work, and she said that, I'm gonna assemble the other one by myself. And I was like, it'll be hard because even the manual says that at least 2 people is needed for the assembly. But she just said that, like, I'm bored, I have to do something. And she successfully managed to build a whole wardrobe by herself by the evening. So now my wardrobe problem is all solved.
Okay. Well, whichever way you do it, just make sure that you don't get hurt, okay?
Yeah.
Because probably the doors are 문짝 is very heavy, right?
Oh yeah, they are really heavy. I didn't know about it, but I found out that I bought the kind of heavy one from the IKEA. So we had to be really careful. Anyways. Problem solved. Yay!
축하드립니다.
By the way,
yeah.
Any updates from you? Something that you did during the weekend or something?
Not much. It was very relaxing because, oh, we should talk about our last episode.
The first one that was done in Korean.
Yeah. It was all my bad. I keep making things difficult. The last episode was the first one that we recorded in Korean, and I think it's going to happen a few more times in the future. Yeah, so for me, I usually spend my Saturday editing, sending the file to Michelle if everything is okay with it and everything. So and Michelle does the work with social media and stuff. Yeah, that's how I usually spend my weekend these days. And since it was Korean, it was recorded in Korean. It was a lot easier for us to for me to edit things because obviously it's a lot natural.
I sensed my 경상도 dialect coming out from me in the previous episode at the very subtle tone that is different from 표준어. What is 표준어? Anyways, yeah.
I think for me, the very first time that I actually heard you speaking Korean in Daegu accent is when you were talking with your dad on the phone, over the phone. That was my first encounter, first time, seeing you.
Then you've never seen me at the office talking to someone from 경상도, from the ministry. I was on the phone with the ministry guy, and he was from 경상도, and I think he was in my age. Around my age, I thought. And he had really strong 경상도 dialect accent. And I was influenced by, gradually influenced by his accent, and I started to speaking in 경상도 accent even though I'm at the office and speaking on the phone. And after hanging up, literally everyone at the office was staring at me.
I didn't get to hear that. No.
I was like, 그러십니까? It is 미디어 사투리. I was more 그랬습니까? I was in that way.
I've never heard that.
and
even there are other people from Gyeongsangdo at our work, right? And I never heard you using Daegu accent with them. So
yeah. I don't. I think
you have your accent coming out in the previous episode.
But it is really hard to recognize because it just stops at some point and it is very it happens in a very short, maybe in a second or something. And I kind of automatically change my tone once again to 표준어 speaking person. So it is. I think it will be very hard to recognize.
Do you think then if people from Gyeongsang area they listened to our previous episode, do you think they would know that you're from 경상도?
If those people are kind of sensitive with the language, I think so.
전혀 모르겠는데요. But are you willing to do it again in Korean?
Yeah, like I think it'll happen in the future because maybe I will be too tired to speak in English at some point in the future, I think.
Yeah, so pretty much that was my weekend. I relatively have a very peaceful weekend.
Good for you.
Yep.
So, shall we start and talk about today's book?
No.
No.
Because, like every morning, like on every Thursdays, like in the morning, I try to read the books that we're supposed to, cover. It's a total, like ebook wise, it's a total of 176 pages. And on the subway, I stopped at 14, like page 14에서 멈춰서, I found myself tearing up.
Yeah.
So I was like, 출근길에 울면 안 돼.
I never even tried to read this book in public. I read this book twice, and I always read in my room by myself
alone.
Yeah, because I once mentioned that I just don't care about what other people think about me on the subway or on the bus, even like when I'm crying. But regarding this one, I cry like a baby when I'm reading this one. And I was lying on my bed last time reading this one, and I got so emotional and so emotionally overwhelmed that I was just, literally thrashing around and sobbing. But still, we still haven't mentioned today's book's title.
Oh, yeah. What is it? I'm very curious.
긴 밤 by LULY. It may be translated as The Longest Night by LULY.
Before we actually dive into this book, I highly recommend all of you to stop here and go read the book first, because it really only takes about 30 minutes to finish the book.
But it'll hurt your souls.
Yeah, it will hurt your soul, and you might end up just crying, and like as I mentioned in the previous episode, it takes 30 minutes, but it will take you about an hour just crying. So in total, it will take you about an hour and a half to 2 hours in total. So it's just as good as reading, just a 벽돌책 or a thick book, which is over like 500 pages. But it's an easy read. So because there are some comments that I get from our mutual friends or our listeners saying that I want to listen to your podcast or episodes after I'm done reading the book, and somehow it's not easy to catch up on it. But for this one, I'm proud to say that it only will take about 20 to 30 minutes. So just stop here and go read, and just come back to it, and you'll understand why we've been just 호들갑 떨어 about this.
Yeah.
And it's been a while for me to read an actual 그림책.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've been reading some graphic novels, but then 아동 그림책, like a children's book.
Yeah, and actually this work has won the grand prize for 문학동네 Children's Literature Award. So, and the pictures in the book is really beautiful.
And it's very surprising that LULY, the author, is not only like a story writer, but also she's the one who
Draws all
drew all the illustrations, right?
Yeah, I think she is really gifted author.
Like I googled her actually the other day, and I didn't get to find her photo.
So she's basically anonymous.
Or like I think maybe she intentionally chose to become anonymous, kind of, or like
And I don't know what, I feel like there are some, that happens more to the children's literature writers, I think. Because I think I've seen a lot of, pseudonames used by them when I'm, when I go to the like bookstores, like huge bookstores like 교보문고, and see the children's book section, and there are many writers that use the like pen name. So I think it is more like a kind of like familiar thing in those kind of children's literature world maybe.
your name Michelle is kind of function as a pen name for you too on this
Yeah,
podcast, no?
it does.
Is there a reason why you don't want to reveal your Korean name? I think I didn't ask you this before.
It is because my Korean name is not very 흔하지 않아요. 그러니까 not very common Korean name. And it can be easily recognized by anyone, I think. Because
Anyone, as in
also my last name is very peculiar in Korea.
Your family name.
Yeah, my family name. So
Okay. So so it's kind of like you want your friends to know about this podcast, but you don't really want your acquaintances to know about this podcast. Is that why? Okay.
because like it is not that I wanna hide but I think I wanna hide. Anyways, but when I was a college student, like professors, they always recognize me in the very first lecture of the semester because my name is so peculiar. And they always point me out to stand up and like give out your opinion about this one, and I was kind of sick of it. Well, also I used to live in the States when I was in my teenage days, and my father named me as Michelle, so I'm using that name even to this day.
I just think it was wise for both of us to not reveal our faces. Like I don't really mind my acquaintances to find out that I'm actually doing this podcast. But I think I'm more of a type who wants to hide what I am or who I am to those who don't know me.
Yeah, me too.
And in that sense, I think it was wise for both of us to not reveal our faces. And I think I will continue this way.
Yeah.
If you agree, yeah.
And it also it is of course related to the like matter of hiding our identity, especially related to the facial looks. And the other part for me is that it's kind of a little bit of a burden
In what
then
way?
that I have to wear some kind of decent clothes, or maybe putting on a makeup or something. And it's 피곤해. I don't even wear makeup at work. And I don't want to do that when I'm recording podcast episodes.
That has been my life. Like the whole time. Me not wearing any makeup. Sometimes apply like foundation, and that's it. it's usually like one layer of foundation plus 그 lip balm. The color lip balm is like the only thing that I do. 그거 안 할 때도 있지만, but like my whole life has been without makeup. So yeah, if we were to do this podcast like with our faces revealed,
Yeah.
then I might as well think about wearing makeup on or wearing nice clothes. But then yeah, like, I don't really care. Anyways, yeah, going back to our 긴긴밤. I actually remember that you didn't give me any information on this book. You just told me that it's a short book, but it's going to be, heartbreaking. And it really was. You're all telling me the truth. But at the same time, like, you didn't really tell me the summary or the storyline, the plot of this book. And I was surprised that, the setting is not in Korea, right? Like, it's not mentioned. Like, the specific country or the region is not mentioned, but I could somehow see that it's not happening in Korean, even though it's Korean literature. So, yeah, it was something that was very interesting. And should we briefly explain the plot of this book?
Oh,
The
yeah,
Longest
maybe.
Night?
I think I can give out the summary.
Please.
Yeah.
I'm just a lazy one, so. 성실한 Michelle.
This book is about Noden in Korean. And he is the last remaining white rock rhino. 흰바위 코뿔소. But this specific species of rhino is actually invented by the author. And she mentions that in the like back part of the book. But anyways, and he is the last remaining one of the species. And there is also a young penguin born from an abandoned egg, and they set off together in search of the sea. Because of that, the story almost feels like a road movie.
A buddy movie again.
Yeah, buddy movie as well. And at the beginning of the story, the young penguin explains that this is the story of their fathers. I will go with the pronoun they for the young penguin because the gender is not mentioned. The gender of the young penguin is not mentioned in the book.
Oh, the one who is born.
Young penguin.
Uh-huh.
So, like, I'll just go by with the they.
Yeah.
Anyways, and the penguin explains that this is the story of their fathers, Chiku, Rimbo, and Noden. And from that, we realize something interesting, that unlike the other animals in the story, the young penguin doesn't actually have a name. The book addresses this directly at one point. When the penguin says that once they reach the sea, they'll probably be living among other penguins, so Noden might not recognize them anymore. So maybe the penguin needs a name too, but Noden replies that, believe me, there's nothing good about having a name. And, every animal in the novel that has a name was given that name in a zoo.
Right.
So, in other words, being named in this book means being deprived of the freedom those animals should naturally have. And they are trapped behind the bars in a zoo for the rest of their lives. And so, through Noden and the penguin's journey toward the sea, this story explores the inner lives and desires of the animal, the ways humans strip them of their rights, and how violent, but also very ignorant and deeply arrogant as well, it is to treat animals as their possessions that exist for human ownership. So this is the basic plot line of the book. And, there are several incidents that happens to Noden as well.
I think the plot is pretty much it, and like it's the whole story about it is about that. And I think it's more about the lines. I feel very
Emotional.
uh-huh.
Was there any specific line that made you really, sad or maybe deeply
I
attached?
think the most powerful line is when, Noden, the rhinoceros, when he was young and raised by a group of elephants, I think it's specifically mentioned that one of his caretakers, which is the grandma elephant,
Yeah.
or maybe it's said by his elephant peers, but I don't really remember. But then they actually said something like, don't 고민해, 고민하지 마. Don't really, think too much about, whether you should go out of the zoo and, find your own way or stay in the zoo. Like, you are already a good elephant.
Yeah.
And now it's your turn to become a good rhino, right? And that line is kind of inherited to
Yeah.
our new penguin. And Noden actually tells him, I'm sorry that I refer to him as a him.
It is totally fine.
Yeah. But he says something like, you are already a good rhinoceros, or so it's time for you to become a new penguin and, find your own way. And I think the naming thing comes out at that point where the Noden goes like, what if you don't, the penguin, the new penguin goes like, what if you don't recognize me in the future? And he goes like, names doesn't really count, and I'll definitely, recognize you. When we do meet ever again in the future. And I think that is kind of a biggest, like the powerful line within the story. And you know how Noden was raised by a group of elephants, and at the same time, our new penguin is raised, not raised, but then is raised by a good penguin fathers, right? And I think it's very heartwarming to see that. I think what the author is trying to say is that the root, like where you're from, your origin is not really important. I think that's what the author is trying to convey. And like, when we see like, stories like the Lord of the Rings or 그 뭐야, Marvel stories, right? Marvel episodes, like I think Thor, or what's his brother's name? Loki. Whenever they introduce themselves, they go something like, my name is Thor and I'm the heir or the prince of Asgard, and I'm the son of Odin.
Yeah, Odin. Yeah.
Right? 그렇게 말하잖아요. That's how they introduce themselves, right? So which means that they put a lot of weight on their origin or their family, right? Whereas in Kingimbam, nobody really cares about where they're from originally. And it's all about taking care of themselves, and it's good to be you, and it's enough to be you. And like no matter you are born as a human or an elephant or a rhinoceros, if you're with us, you are a cat or you are a rhinoceros, you are an elephant, like whatever you are, right? I think that's like the main, like, core theme within the story. That's why that's how I appreciated this book.
Those lines were also like the most powerful ones to me as well. And I prepared the Korean original version.
Oh yeah, go ahead, please.
It goes like the first one that Sewon mentioned is like Noden hearing from the group of elephants is that 여기 우리 앞에 훌륭한 한 마리의 코끼리가 있네. 하지만 그는 코뿔소이기도 하지. 훌륭한 코끼리가 되었으니 이제 훌륭한 코뿔소가 되는 일만 남았군 그래.
맞아.
It goes like that in Korean, and as well as the line that Noden tells to the young penguin is that 너는 이미 훌륭한 코뿔소야. 그러니 이제 훌륭한 펭귄이 되는 일만 남았네. And Sewon mentioned it doesn't matter about where the one comes from, their origin. I was like, when I was reading this line, I was thinking about growth the theme of growth.
Yeah.
Because, growth can probably mean many different things, but to me, these words, ultimately suggest that in order to encounter a new world, we have to become something other than who we once were. And perhaps that process itself is what growth really is.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that. What could be more frightening than, becoming someone different from that you have been, or leaving behind a world that once felt familiar and stepping into the whole, completely different one. And I thought that it is the only when we find the courage to do that, stepping into the another world and going through all the hardships that can, even that we cannot know in advance what will happen to us. And I thought that the process, and the courage, through that courage, I thought that we can grow up.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I'm treating growth as some kind of a ultimate goal, because when growth became the goal itself, it may be very harmful to people maybe, but I'm just trying to say that we need courage to go out in the unknown world, and that's where the growth happens. And Nodin, even though he is a very old rhinoceros, still I think that he still grows up with it during the journey with the young penguin. I think he is going into the new phase of his own life, experiencing everything with the young penguin.
I think you made a really good point when it comes to growth, and because if I could add on to that, and if we were to apply this to our circumstances or our situations, I think people change, right? Usually we change over the time. And, for example, 20-year-old Michelle is different from 30-year-old Michelle.
Yeah.
Right? And, and sometimes is natural, but sometimes it's intentional, right? At some point, you realize that you want to, for example, 20-year-old Michelle didn't think of this, but then 23-year-old Michelle might want to, maybe, for example, I want to look better, or, I want to, become someone who is like this or that, right? So Michelle decides to, put effort of becoming that person. And I think when that happens, many of your existing people around you would find it very negatively, would take it really negatively. And because this is my real experience from my life as well, because, when I decided to do this, or when I try to change me in some ways, I think what's natural is that, why do you do it? Or, don't do it. Or it's not like you. It's not like the Sewon that I know. That's most of the comments that I get. I used to get. And 그럼에도 불구하고, I think we should, like Noden, try to break out of our cycle or our current situation and trying to be better, or trying to seek for, other options or other path, kind of. And and at the same time, I think, and in what we've been talking about this morning is what we should be talking about in the next episode, right? And we decided to, it's a spoiler, but then we decided not to cover a book, but to just chat.
Yeah.
And do some 잡담, and one of the things that we want to talk about is the things that we don't really like these days.
Yeah.
What irks me, what annoys us, kind of.
Yeah.
And I was going to mention this, but then I'll just spill it out anyways. I don't like people who say something like, Michelle, 너는 원래 냉정한 사람이잖아. Or, Michelle, you're you used to be a talkative person and why you become so quiet all of a sudden, or like the other way around, or like, you know, Michelle, you used to didn't read much, or you didn't really like books, and somehow why are you, you know, trying to become a person who reads a lot of books? 그런
스트레스 받아.
yeah, right? And I really don't like that type of person. And if, you know, there are ones, they might be your best friends or best people around you at
Yeah.
that time. But at the same time, I am the person who believe in 시절 인연. So if someone around you starts saying something like that, I think that's the point where you should leave and move on.
I totally agree.
Mm.
You know, personally, I believe that those kind of people saying those words to, you know, any random people around them, they are just afraid of, you know, afraid of themselves, I think.
Or like they don't want to lose you in a good way.
It can be, yeah. But still, when I hear those kind of things, I feel like, what do you know about me? 나에 대해서 뭘 알아? Like, 너 나 알아? I go like that.
But sometimes, like many of the times, it happens within a very inner circles, don't you think?
Yeah, but still, like, I'm the more, you know, I'm the more aggressive one. So, like, my immediate response might be like, 당신이 나 알아? Yeah, like.
I am the type of person who slowly drifts away. Yeah. So in that sense, I think, you know, you mentioning about growth and being different and, you know, trying to do something new, or, you know, taking the step that hasn't been done before is, 맞아. I think it's very important. And yeah.
And also, I really like these lines because, you know, Nodin and the elephants are saying that you are already a fine elephant or fine rhinoceros. You know, isn't it a little bit like gently pushing the young penguin forward by saying that, you know, and those kind of lines that you are already a fine rhinoceros, I think it is more, you know, touching because Nodden is saying that to the penguin, not some kind of, you know, random stranger. Because like that kind of words is much more, you know, powerful when someone that you really love or that you really cherish tells you about it, that you are already a fine person or something like that.
Right.
You know, it really gives you the power to go forward and, you know, seek for another things, I think. I kind of found these lines as like a little bit like consoling to myself as well. And also go on, please go on.
No.
뭔 얘기하려고 그랬어?
I just wanted to mention that I'm very proud of ourselves covering this episode without, you know,
Without crying?
yeah.
But I wanted to say something about that because I once told Sewon that when I'm preparing for the episodes of the podcast, I always, you know, go back to some kind of like lines or the pages that I have like highlighted or like put the like stickers on it. And I kind of like write everything down on my like personal note or something. And surprisingly, when I was writing down the lines from this Longest Night, the book, I was not really, you know, sentimental as like reading the whole book. 한 번에 그 책을 다 읽을 때만큼은 눈물이 안 나는 거예요. So, and what I was trying to say is that this book is so good that I think the narrative is really important in this book. I mean, the like narrative structure of the book is really important, I think. 그러니까 그 안에 있을 때 더 빛을 발하는 거죠. The lines are really shining in the narrative, I think.
Or maybe when you when you decide to, oh, it's time to prepare for the podcast, you suddenly change into a critic, Michelle.
Ah, no, I don't think so.
And like you become a tea person. And like you know how to, hold up your emotions and you know how to break down like why, to make sure that you convey why this is worth reading, 똑똑이 미셸
version.
이가 나오는 거지.
똑똑이 version of Michelle is
Yeah,
coming
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
And also, like, I mentioned that this book won the grand prize for, like, 문학동네 Children's Literature Award. So, this book includes a review written by a children's literature critic at the end, in the end of the book. And I really like that critic as well. I really enjoyed it, reading it. Actually, I cried a lot. Even reading the review of a critic.
I start to, I get interested in 평론집 these days.
Oh.
I think it's fun reading it.
Yeah, I also really love to read 평론집.
Like I wasn't like that person before, but then now I'm, starting to realize maybe it's fun to read. Yeah. Maybe because we work a lot with the critics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So, like, I wanted to mention that the critic, the critic that wrote the review of this book is named 송수연 평론가. And she describes the characters in the story as forming a small but great solidarity of love. 작지만 위대한 사랑의 연대. And I really like that expression because especially my favorite characters in this book is 치쿠 and 윈보, the very lovely penguin couple. And they literally show the solidarity between them.
Right.
By, the solidarity part about the couple is that Chiku is unable to see with his right eye because of some kind of accident that happened in the zoo. And
you don't remember the accident? I really like it actually.
그 정어리.
Because Wimbo was playing with the mackerel, the fish, right?
Yeah.
And the bone kind of scratched the right side of his eye,
Yeah.
and like that's how he got,
It's kind
his
of
issue with the.
It's
Is it
kind
cute?
of playful and cute
Yeah, it
as
is.
well.
And I really like the fact that like his right eye issue was coming from a disastrous or a sad,
Yeah.
event. Yeah. I really like that.
So
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways, like, because of that accident, Chiku cannot see with his right eye, so his partner Wimbo always stands on his right side. And I really like that part, that like Wimbo always cares to stand to Chiku's right side, and actually that action leads to a tragedy of this couple, but still both of them are really caring for each other. And because like they are the ones who picked up the abandoned egg, which later becomes the young penguin that travels with Nodin. They chose to nurture that egg, but still they are very anxious about whether they will be a good father or they will be able to, grow this little penguin to a very, mature and fine penguin in the future. But like every time, like one of them is worried about the like future circumstances of this young penguin, the other one always consoles the other, and they, kind of, manages to calm down themselves. I really like that, their relationship, how they, so frequently caring for each other.
They somehow reminded me of the characters in The Pillowman.
아, yeah. 아, 너무 슬프다. 갑자기 그렇게 얘기하니까. I'm sad.
You know, the brothers, right?
Michael and Katorian, you mean?
Like, it's kind of similar that way, right?
Yeah.
Like
I think so.
one is breaking down at the same time. One is like the other one is the one who consoles and like, you know, trying to comfort the other.
Oh, that's a good, 좋은데요. 왜냐면 I was feeling kind of a deja vu when I was like reading about Chiku and Rimbo. I couldn't just able to find it out.
Because Chiku and Rimbo, they are like 약간 Dumb and Dumbers, right?
Yeah.
근데 they just make it somehow. 어떻게 하게 되잖아요. And like, you know, and at the same time, their narrative, their story is quite, you know, touching and, you know, 안타까워, sad kind of. And sometimes, like, in some way, they're 미쳤어 at the same time, right?
Yeah. They are like characterized as some kind of like crazy duo of the story as well.
Maybe that's why. Yeah. I really like the illustrations at the very last part of the book.
근데
Like, without any lines, right?
yeah, but that is the part where you get the most emotional, I think.
Yeah. I wish I could buy some of them.
아, 그러니까 not in the like ones included in the book, but like some kind of a like bigger poster or something like that.
Yeah. I specifically like the ones that we could see the footprints
Yeah.
of the penguin at night and at the sea, and of course the last illustration with the he finally made it, right?
Yeah. 너무 슬퍼요.
Yeah.
My favorite one was there is this like certain scene that Nodin and the young penguin is, seeing the sky in a color of a like well-ripened mango.
맞아, 예뻐요.
And there is also like illustration of that specific scene as well. And I really liked it. and I was crying like seeing that illustration as well. And I was with my friend actually, and my friend was like, and I was like pointing that illustration to my friend and saying, like, sobbing and saying something like, 망고라잖아, 망고. I was crying like that.
Can you explain why mango is so important in the story?
I
don't remember.
I remember, but okay, I think I can explain about it. You mean the young penguin sees the like one of the days that they travel with Nodin. They suddenly sees the sky and it looks really beautiful in the young one's eyes, and 그 penguin asks to Nodin that what is the name of the color of that sky, and Nodin answers that like there won't be any name for that sky because it is so beautiful. But suddenly the penguin reminds Nodin of the like well-ripened mango that was provided by Nodin to them, because by saying that the penguin is like, I think that one is unconsciously bringing out the like past good memory with Nodin. That penguin is thinking that the sky is really beautiful, related to what Nodin has given to them as well. And Nodin is, very much, 감동받아.
맞아.
Moved by what penguin is saying. And penguin is saying that not very much intentionally, but he's just expressing what he's feeling at that moment. And it is very innocent as well. It kind of also conveys the like how children can be very accurate when they are being innocent, and also, you know, give out some kind of like 깨달음, or some kind of like certain, like the children are pointing out what adults can miss. Because it feels like it is so normal to the adults, but still children can feel it in the other way, and they can find out how to express that certain things in their own terms. And it was really beautiful. I feel like your eyes are a little bit like 촉촉.
No.
No?
아니에요, 저는.
Okay. You kind of seem like you are kind of like thinking over the story and, you know, taking all the details like once again, and, you know.
No, I can do this.
Okay.
No, I can do this. You know, at the very last part, the penguin says goodbye to Noden, and like he goes his own way, and like just before he, finds the 지평선 or the 수평선, the sea, right? There's this last big step that he has to make, which is he has to, step down the cliff. And in order to do that, he has to, peck. He has
all
to
the
peck
rocks.
peck all the rocks so that he could, like he needs like these gaps so that he could step on it, right? And like it's depicted that it's very painful and it's a very difficult thing to do. And I think it's 아직, like I'm still young to say this, but like I believe that whenever things are like I think I'm mature enough or I'm old enough to know that when really, really painful or difficult things happen, I now know that I should endure this, or I should, just not stop and, continue doing this, because now I know that at the end of this, 고통 or the difficulties or hardships, I know that there is 지평선 or 수평선 waiting for us. Like before, like when I was like, that's one of the merits or virtues of, getting older. I think. Yeah.
I agree.
So like back then when I was in my 20s, like I was just 너무너무 힘드니까. Everybody's really 힘들어 in their 20s, right?
Like don't know what to do.
너무 힘들고 불안하잖아요. I've gone through that too. And yet, like, here I am, like, still surviving. And, like, I sometimes wonder, what if I stopped? Or what if I gave up at that time, I must have become a different person than what I am right now, right? And, I still have my own issues, or I still have my own problems. 다들 그럴 거라고 생각하는데, right? But I think I just want to mention that I'm old enough to understand that, at the end of the day, things will turn out okay, at least. Well, things might not turn out well or good, but, I just at least know that things will turn out okay many of the times. And it's worth, enduring all the pain and hardships. And I think that the journey was well depicted in that part when, the new penguin is trying to peck the rocks to step on it, to step down.
I agree. And also it is, as Sewon explained, it is the penguin's very last journey is like kind of a metaphor for the incidents that can happen to anyone reading the book. And I thought that the metaphor is really concise. It is very simple, but still really beautiful.
And when also you mentioned the 송수연 critics, the 뭐라 그래, 평론?
Review?
A review that she mentions that there is a line in the story that the new penguin, our protagonist, says something like, I, decided to survive not for the sake of my fathers, Noden or
Chiku and
Chiku or
Rimbo,
Rimbo. I decided to survive because it's like me surviving is solely for myself.
Yeah.
그런 나는 내가 본 적도 없는 치쿠와 윈보의 목까지 살기 위해 살아냈다기보다는 나 스스로가 살고 싶어서 악착같이 살아냈다. 근데 but then later on like he realizes that 그들의 목까지 산다는 노든의 말을 제대로 이해하게 된 것은 그 후로도 꽤 시간이 지나고 나서의 일이다. I resonate a lot with these lines because there's this I think there's this typical Korean 뭐죠? 그 단어? 그 Korean 갑자기 생각 안 난다 단어.
아니 한국어로도?
한국어로 신파. Right?
멜로드라마.
one of the typical Korean 신파 is that there's sometimes what parents say, especially Korean parents, say to their kids could be very burdensome and very 부담스러워 at the same time. Like, the lines like 내가 어떻게 너를 키웠는데, or like, I sacrificed this much for you, and now you're giving this to me, kind of 그런 거 되게 많잖아요.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of 세뇌당해서 I'm kind of brainwashed by that lines. So like, well, it's not like my parents are saying this to me. Like I've never heard them saying this to me while I was growing up. But then still the Korean 정서, right?
Yeah.
It's
a very
ingrained,
universal
right?
Korean
Yeah.
정서.
It's kind of ingrained in us, right?
Yeah.
So I was kind of sick of it. 그런 거 정말 싫어하는데, yeah, I first liked the fact that like the protagonist decided to live solely for himself, and at the same time, after when he gets matured, like he kind of appreciates the effort that his father's made, right? 그거가 되게 좋았던 것 같아.
I also like that part too. One of the things that I wanted to mention is this one is a very personal take, but the critics' review, it also writes that this work portrays with simplicity yet great depth the pain, fear, and joy of living as oneself. 그러니까 나로 살아간다는 것의 고통과 두려움, 환희를 단순하지만 깊이 있게 보여준다.
맞아.
그러니까 I really, 그러니까 this line really touched me, and this specific passage from the review reminded me of 이현호 시인's poem 모든 익사체는 떠오르려고 한다. The poem's tone is completely different from this work, The Longest Night. It is completely different, but still it kind of reminded me of the poem because there is a line from the poem says that I will just, go with the Korean and the second one with the English one. The Korean original text goes like 나는 당분간 인간으로 산다는 잘못을 끝까지 버티기로 마음 잡았네. 불면의 언덕에 서서 날 거두지 못한 강물을 내려다보면 한 존재가 한 존재의 고통을 켜는 아름다운 꿈이 윤술처럼 빛나며 들려오네. 우리는 이미 삶은 몰라도 죽음은 누구보다 더 잘 연주하는 악기였네만. It goes like that. And in English translation, it is like made by ChatGPT, so it might not convey the like original tone, but still, I just tried. For a while, I resolved to endure to the very end, the mistake of living on as a human being. Standing on the hill of sleeplessness, looking down at the river that failed to take me in, I could hear it shimmering like ripples of light, the beautiful dream of one being illuminating the suffering of another. Perhaps we never truly mastered life, but we were instruments that could play death better than anyone. Like, even though this poem is like more like focused on death, but still I felt like this poem is also, like stepping over death to once again float over the surface of life. That was why I thought the title of the poem was 모든 익사체는 떠오르려고 한다. Every drowned body longs to float back up. I was thinking about this poem related to Longest Night in that way because The Longest Night, this work also talks about how life can be so fearful and so, hazardous and at the same time very sad. But still, our protagonists are still longing for the life and they are just, 선택하죠, 삶을.
아, 시가 더 슬프네.
시가 슬프죠, 근데. 왜?
No, I'm fine.
어쩜 좋아. I said that this one is a really personal take because this one is one of my favorite poems of all time.
This very moment was Viki for me. Because while you're reading out the poem, that line, I was like, while I'm doing the podcast, I, turn on my laptop and at the same time, I'm using my tablet PC to read the books, go through the books and stuff. And when you are reading the lines, I was looking at this illustration.
No!
Do you see Noden's eye? In his eye, there's the penguin, our 주인공. And if you go in detail, there's a fly next to his eye, and you're reading this to me, and I'm looking at him, and I could see the penguin. So yeah,
and the fly as well. I was just 머리를 쥐어뜯어 when Sewon showed the illustration. We highly recommend you to read the book.
진짜.
그러니까 진짜 아름다운 책이에요. It's a really beautiful book.
And these days, I think a lot about how, what it's like to live as me. I think about a lot about that, 나로 사는 것은 무엇인가? 나답게 사는 것. Every character in this book is very honest when it comes to, and they're not afraid of, showing themselves, showing themselves, not themselves, showing themselves. Yeah, no. I respect them a lot, and I respect their bravery and their sacrifice and their love, and the solidarity that you mentioned. Yeah. If you want to, take some time and think about your life and about the family or the people around you and about yourself, I think 김기범 is the book that you might want to grab.
Do you have
anything else?
I'm 다 말한 것 같아요.
Yeah. 근데 seriously 진짜 읽어보셨으면 좋겠어요. I really hope our listeners read 김기범. That's it for this week.
That's it for today's book. And what's coming next is as Sewon mentioned before, we are gonna do a casual chat episode for the first time. It was actually on my wish list.
Yeah, we're taking a break from our usual cycle.
Book review? Yeah.
And we're just gonna take a break and do some light chats. And it turns out that a lot of people really like to listen to our 잡담 or our daily updates.
So there were some kind of request from our listeners saying that maybe you guys should do an episode without a book, just doing the chatting for the whole episode. So we are taking in that comment and we are gonna chat about random things.
Well, there will be topics that we have to talk about, but then we don't know
Yeah, I think we are gonna just drift away at some point.
I think so too, which is good too.
Yeah. That was the whole concept of this podcast.
Yeah, just
in
do
the
whatever
first
we
very
want.
beginning.
Right. Okay. All right.
Okay. That's it for today, and we're gonna call it a night. And Sewon seems very emotional right now.
It's just we'll just call it a night, and this was it for this week. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening.
Bye bye.
Bye.